Hi, this is Deborah Bird from Pasadena City College. This is a brief description of the work that we've been doing on the degree qualifications profile at our community college in California. Involved with the project are about a dozen people. It's an interdisciplinary group. We have administrators, counselors, and we have representatives from career and technical education, as well as science, distance learning, and design and technology. We're looking at the degree outcomes at the associate's level. We're specifically interested in career and technical education, and our goal is to use the degree qualifications profile to work with stackable certificates that they could then link into an associate's science degree and also into a transfer level curriculum. And we decided to use the organizing principle of sustainable technology and sustainability as the organizing idea for a number of reasons. It works both with the general education outcomes of the college in terms of civic engagement, etc. And it's also highly applicable to career and technical fields. But it's also an idea that's being explored through the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math. So we saw this as a really good way of bringing all of these different elements together. And what it means, though, is that we've had to really look at the alignment of our program outcomes and course outcomes in terms of how certificates stack into degrees and transfer, and also into the realm of authentic assessments, in that our career and technical programs are moving much more towards project-based learning, and it's an idea that's also being more readily explored in the general education aspects as well. So we saw that as a possibility. And then, of course, the course curriculum for all of the projects involved in this would also be evolving. So we used the DQP to explore outcomes really in terms of the the 5 different areas and how they could apply. I've described in the previous piece just how broadly sustainability can work across all of the different outcomes. And we were also really interested in this idea of how to question the appropriateness of the DQP at the associates level. So what we started with over the course of this project is the initial conference where we got together with the other schools who were also working on the DQP, and we decided on the career and technical field as our area of emphasis. The sustainable technology idea really grew a little bit after the conference, the initial conference. We had initially thought about going in with a narrower focus, and we were looking at, say, for example, the transportation industry sector. And then we realized that the idea was strong enough that it could work as a unifying principle across the whole college. So that's when we started broadening it. Several of our key faculty went to a sustainability conference where they were looking at some of these issues of transfer from the community college to the 4-year and 5-year degree level. So that became sort of the galvanizing idea. So we've started to design a curriculum and certificate structure based on several short occupational skills certificate, and we're in the process of building those up to a certificate of achievement. We've also been involved in recruiting faculty across the general education spectrum, and specifically from the sciences as well. And we're seeing that bringing our program outcomes into alignment is actually a very, it's a good place to start, but it's also a relatively easy process when we're dealing with principles of applied learning and project-based learning as well. We're also mapping the course sequence to the Associates of Science degree and mapping our outcomes. So what's really going on at the moment, what's really happening is broadening from our original core group of people out into the broader community and starting to recruit a large group of people so that we have enough enough sections of the various different courses that comprise these certificates and this eventually this AS degree, that will be able to offer sufficient sections to accommodate a growing group of students who are very clearly interested in this qualification. So the occupational skills certificates that we're looking at are in two specific areas of sustainable technology. One is focused on advanced manufacturing and engineering. The other is on the building, construction, and engineering front. Those two certificates, occupational skills certificates, then build into the Certificate of Achievement, which is in sustainable technology. There could also be other certificates of achievement in the sciences or in business and in other disciplines that could also achieve their own occupational skills certificates or certificates of achievement. And then they would all come together under the Associates of Science degree in sustainability with the GE classes added. So the key learning that's come out about the DQP process through this work is that we're really having to look at really thinking about interdisciplinary learning in terms of combining and recombining areas of learning. So we're really looking for the commonalities across a number of different disciplines. Where we've actively looked at the depth of learning that's going on and really looking at that in terms of the DQP outcomes. And, we're looking at Bloom's taxonomy and various the learning domains, et cetera. One of the areas that we're interested in is the traditional sort of disconnect between career and technical education and the GE realm. And we're really looking at how we can use the DQP as a way of reconciling those differences and actually creating a positive engagement between CTE and the GE. And we also looked at how do we keep our outcomes clearly defined so that we can make sure that this alignment between the two parts of the college is actually a really productive outcome. We're also very interested through our Pathways project in the transitional needs that will be required for transfer. And this is part of our student support system, and it will engage with areas like civic learning through opportunities for service learning, etc. So the transition that we see is not just from one institution to another, but eventually through career development and into the workforce. So that's part of an entire pathway that spans probably a 10-year process from the students who are coming in from high school through to the point where they're actively engaging their chosen career. So we've looked at we've revised our gateway classes in the technical areas to ensure that we're achieving our authentic outcomes through project-based learning, through applied learning, through making learning visible, etc. And we've realized that what's ultimately needed is a cohesive student experience across all our courses, in all our programs, in order to really make the learning transferable between these different disciplines. So one of the key outcomes that we've had as a result of engaging with the DQP is that we're bringing a lot of other interested parties to the table, and we're looking at introducing the DQP as part of the curriculum and instruction process, so that for everyone who's bringing a course or program revision or proposing a new work to our C&I process, they will be introduced to the DQP structure and we're hoping that the alignment of outcomes for new courses can all be standardized to the DQP. We're also looking, in terms of the sustainability degree, looking at all new courses and course revisions as they come to CNI and evaluating them for inclusion in the sustainability pathway. And we've had some discussions about how that approval process would work and what the level of sustainability or the alignment with the DQP and the pedagogical and curriculum choices, to what degree those reinforce the outcomes of the DQP. So that's an ongoing discussion. We've had a number of faculty meetings on site. We have faculty retreats happening over this summer break, and in the fall we'll be bringing further curriculum development to the CNI process and building our community of practice. In conclusion, I think we've made a good start on the DQP as a tool that's clearly communicated. We've really enjoyed using the graphic representations and the materials that have come from the publications and the website. They're easily it's easy to communicate these ideas to new people who are not familiar with it. They get the concepts. We have a lot of interest in sustainability as well, so that's really drawing people in. We do need to broaden our appeal. We know that we have at least another 20 people on campus who are already working with sustainability thematically in their classes, and now our goal is to really bring them in and start reworking their courses to bring them into alignment. We also understand that the scheduling and implementation is going to take longer than we had thought, because we've decided we need to go for a broader approach to this and make it relevant to the entire campus community. So we're really looking at more of a 2-year plan now to implementation. We are already working with alignment to our general education outcomes, and we're also using a design assessment methodology. We're using e-portfolios as a means of measuring student learning, and we want to incorporate these elements into the project as we go so that it's holistic. In other words, we're looking for as many sort of touch points as we can manage between the DQP project and the other innovative work that's going on in the college. And in that sense, the DQP is really useful for that. So what we've developed is a series of stackable certificates. You can see we're also including the high school transition as a we have summer bridge programs, and we also have high school academies that are starting, that are bringing students or introducing students to our programs a few years before we get here. So that whole component in the first column is really about getting the students in at a level where they can engage in college level work immediately. We are using our existing design technology pathway as an initial introductory pathway, and we're focusing on college and career readiness there. So the students do a design tech class, which is an interdisciplinary design class, which links with their English and math. We also have a College 1 class, which is a college success class. In the second semester, the students then specialize in the 2 paths that I'd mentioned earlier, either advanced manufacturing or the architecture, engineering, construction program. The second semester also includes English, math, and a speech class to improve communication skills. After that second semester, by the time the students are going into the second year, they would be continuing and completing the first or the second of the stackable certificates, which is the blue CAD design or sustainable technology components there. But we're also introducing the other GE classes, which would be themed for sustainability. So as you can see, as the stackable certificate is completed, the GE and transfer level courses also come in, so that by the time the students are up to their final semesters, they're completing just the GEs. But at every step along the way, all the courses that they're taking will be themed for sustainability, and the DQP outcomes will be aligned across all of those courses. So the program level outcomes that we developed we actually distilled them down to 3 rather than the 5 that originally started. So we're looking at a model where we're applying a design methodology to the 3 outcomes. So the first one is really about evaluating the problem from multiple perspectives. The second is to apply the principles of sustainability using real-world and local problems. So this is where the content of the course and the specific principles and processes that are discipline specific would come in. And then the third level is the resolution of the design process, which is to communicate solutions using audience appropriate techniques. And we say that because we use a wide range. Obviously the portfolio I mentioned earlier, which would carry through with the student as they move up through their levels of education, but also using visual and verbal communication techniques, written work, etc. So we're looking at communicating solutions really across a range of media. And that's it.